You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it when I say it. You're going to think I'm joking, but I'm not. Mario is dead. Or some other kind of famous Italian guy. I don't really know. Also, Mario's name is Silvio Berlusconi, which sounds like a kind of pastry name. It's all right. You can be glib about his death. He was not a good guy. All right? Not even remotely. Okay? We're going to have to play audio a little harder than that.
Controversial man in Italy. He led his country's government 4 times, its longest-serving leader since World War II. He ran a media empire, became a billionaire businessman, and enjoyed a spectacular rise from his early days as a cruise ship crooner. But few men have had such a dramatic downfall. He survived corruption convictions and sex scandals, but it was the case of the nightclub dancer, known as Ruby the Heart Stealer, that ended his dominance of Italian life. He was convicted of paying her for sex at raunchy parties at his home. She was just 17 and one of many underage girls and sex workers at the parties he called Bunga Bunga. The phrase went round the world.
Bulga Bulga. Berlusconi is the guy who, when confronted with the fact that he was having sex with underage girls... Well, is 17 underage in Italy? Whatever, 17-year-old girls. He was like, at least they're not boys, right? That was him? Like, I want you to... Yes, it is? Okay, yeah, like, I want you to imagine, like, what kind of guy, when confronted by the press on this, answers with, at least they're not boys.
The case shocked Italy.
It should not have shocked Italy.
Conviction was overturned, but the man who said he'd faced down more than 100 legal trials lost a reputation he'd always struggled to maintain. His second wife divorced him after he was pictured at the 18th birthday party of a model. But his flamboyance and daring turbocharged his political career. He was a rich, permatan businessman with no political experience who was still elected leader of his nation. And he was a staunch U.S. ally, close to George W. Bush, supporting the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. His energy was...
Also liked by Putin, funnily enough. So this guy is basically just like an Italian stereotype. He is the most corrupt man. He is incredibly corrupt. He had no political experience. He was an enormously wealthy and powerful businessman whose politics were mostly oriented along the kind of pro-business austerity you would expect from somebody of his, of his background. He was favored as a U.S. ally because he's a pro-business guy and he's not a communist. But Putin, has liked him as well because he's certainly not a progressive. He's hideously corrupt, and Putin is also an incredibly powerful, corrupt oligarch. The stuff tends to get around. He was an unbelievably corrupt guy. Yeah, of course he had ties to the mafia. Oh man, he's not a good guy, folks. He's not good. Well, now he's dead. He's dead now. He can no longer rape children, which is absolutely what he's been doing. Think about it. The Catholic Church is the most raping children institute. That's probably why he said at least they're not boys, because he's in Italy. So, like, he's thinking, oh, wow, when people who are powerful in Italy normally have sex with children, normally it's boys. Yeah, I'm doing it with girls. So that's something, That's I have to assume that's what was going on in his head. He was banned from political office for 10 years because of his corruption. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not really any recourse in Italy for crimes because, as I understand it, Italy has engaged in prison abolitionism. There's actually no prison in Italy because Italy is so corrupt and so ineffectual with its justice system that people kind of just get like rolled around a little bit and then thrown back in the street. I don't know if that's true or not, but I choose to believe it's true because I heard it on a podcast once. Based Italy with prison abolitionism.
Trademark. But after collapsing at a rally, he was fitted with a pacemaker. He survived a heart attack, and after emergency treatment for coronavirus, he declared, "I've dodged a bullet once again." At 83, he began a relationship with a 30-year-old woman after separating from his 35-year-old partner. "I'm no saint," he once said. Berlusconi was temporarily barred from holding political office after a conviction for tax fraud. But when the ban lifted, he staged yet another comeback, winning a seat in the Italian Senate. Unapologetic in private life, seemingly...
Literally, he just doesn't stop. You probably thought he was done there, right? Like, oh, banned from politics, gigantic scandal, he was super old. Yeah, nope.
Untouchable in political life, Silvio Berlusconi's rise, scandal-filled falls, and repeated comebacks chart a career few politicians can match. Matt Bradley, NBC News, London.
Now, the way he made his money, or one of the ways that he made his money, was through his media empire. See, he wasn't a shoe salesman, okay? He wasn't out there making pasta. He actually had control at one point of, I think, a majority of Italian media. By majority, I think it was something in the ballpark of 80 to 90% were in some form or another owned by him. Meaning that, you know, it like nothing mattered. Like literally, it's a mob country. It's not a real country. Italy's not a real country. Yeah. I cook it a pasta. I own it a media. Yeah. Literally Italian Murdoch. Murdoch wishes he had as much proportional control over the United States as Berlusconi did over Italy's media in his heyday. I mean, just, it's ridiculous. Like, there's so much to this guy's history. Basically, it's just it's a good thing that he's dead, is what I'm saying. Now, a lot of people inside Italy still like him because he's kind of like Trump. He's like a horrible person and a business magnate, which means that, you know, capital interests often support him. The far right tends to support him because they see him as like, you know, a quintessentially Italian repudiation of foreign interests. They like it when guys rape little girls. The post-liberals are trying to do that now over here. Yeah, it's kind of like what a lot of liberals have done with George W. Bush, where like, well, in retrospect, or what English liberals do with Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was a piece of shit. He was terrible, you know? We never talk about this, but he oversaw the starvation of millions of Indians, saying they bred like rabbits, saying they were subhuman, they didn't need food. He was a monster. But because he fought the Nazis and he, you know, led the country during the Second World War, you know, that's what people remember him for. And there's been this, you know, this, well, how dare you, sir, effort to reform his image as a kind of model of, you know, British history. And I think a lot of people have done this with Berlusconi, you know. Obviously, Berlusconi only just died, whereas Churchill died a while ago. But I think that people, in terms of, like, liberals being unwilling to fundamentally criticize a powerful leader who historically has done a lot of bad stuff, you know. Vosh, it's a very observant joke that the best thing that ever happened to the British Empire was the Nazis. Best smokescreen ever. Yeah. In a world where World War II never happened, the British decolonial wars probably would have dragged on until the 50s, 60s. I mean, the French went on to like the 80s. You know, and that probably would have been the primary, you know, because like World War II happens and England and Britain just kind of like, you know, oh, okay, and they like walk off a lot of the imperial holdings, but that was a smokescreen, right? Portugal fought to keep the empire till 1975. Yeah. But nobody thinks about that when they talk about Portugal. The point that I'm trying to arrive at here is that Berlusconi was a very bad guy. So, considering the fact that right now Italy is ruled over by a literal Mussolini supporter, like the I forget her name, the blonde lady who is part of the party and who is historically just directly Meloni, thank you, defended you know, Mussolini. The government of Italy is probably going to try and lionize Berlusconi the same way they in many ways have done with Mussolini, which you know, in the long run politically will probably be devastating, but in the short term I don't know how much this is actually going to lead to. Another gabagool? True. She already gave a cringy eulogy for him. Really? They declared a national day of mourning? Oh my god. Meloni, speech, Berlusconi. Yeah, of course, of course. There we go. Thank you. Silvio Berlusconi was above all a fighter. Giorgia Meloni's statement on death of former yeah, all right. We gonna do this again?
Silvio Berlusconi era soprattutto un combattente. Era un uomo che non aveva mai avuto paura a difendere le sue convinzioni e sono stati esattamente quel coraggio, quella determinazione a farne uno degli uomini più influenti della storia d'Italia, a consentire.
Notice what she's praising him for, by the way. He defended his beliefs and he's influential. Like, what, you know, what are you actually, like, what is that?
Di imprimere delle vere e proprie svolte nel mondo della politica, della comunicazione.
Make real turning points. It's like all this applies to Hitler. You know? When a person's praising someone, they're like, they were very powerful, they were strong, they believed in themselves. Okay.
Nel mondo dell'impresa. Con lui l'Italia ha imparato che non doveva mai farsi imporre dei limiti.
What? The guy who got accosted in 87 sex scandals, the lesson that you learned from his term, multiple terms, is that there should be no limits? What is that? Like the age of consent, you mean?
Imporre dei limiti.
He was also a very repressive leader, by the way, because he controlled the media. He imposed meaningful and severe limitations on the freedom of speech of Italians.
Imparato che non doveva mai darsi per vinta. Con lui noi abbiamo combattuto, vinto, perso molte battaglie e anche per lui porteremo a casa gli obiettivi che insieme ci eravamo dati. Addio Silvio.
Nice. It should be noted, by the way, to bring this back to a critical theory perspective, that a lot of what is wrong with Italy today, and there's a lot wrong with Italy today, and a lot that's wrong with Europe broadly, is our fault. See, to summarize it like really quickly, during the Cold War, we, the United States, were really interested in making sure that communism didn't happen anywhere west of the Iron Curtain. And to bring that about, we did a couple of oopsie whoopsies. You know, we did them all over the world. You know, a couple of toppled democratic socialist governments, a few fascists we installed. I mean, South Korea and Taiwan were both fascist military governments until the 1980s. That's thanks to us. We supported the bad guys. And in countries that were, at least not since World War II, not like explicitly overturned and made fascist, like say Italy, we basically supported, we got the next best thing, okay? We supported a lot of bad people. We militarily and economically incentivized, repressive, anti-free speech laws and patterns of behavior. I believe in Italy, like the CIA directly collaborated with the Italian government to install militia cells that in case the Cold War ever turned into a hot war, they would, like, in a guerrilla warfare sense, resist Soviet occupation. So I want you to imagine right now that, like, the CIA goes to, I don't know, Idaho or Tennessee, and they wander around and they're going, okay, we need to find the most militaristic, the most paranoid, the most anti-communist militias we possibly can. We're going to arm them up. We're going to set them out, and we're going to tell them, hey, if communism ever wins, you have to resist the invaders. Who are you going to find? That's right. You're going to find Klansmen, and that's exactly what they did in Italy. The CIA went around, not just in Italy, but there as well, and basically was like, all right, my most anti-communist guys, who all for some reason had direct ties to the military of Mussolini's government and also worshipped him as a leader and also for some reason are covered in swastikas. All of you, you're a bulwark against communism, okay? So here's a bunch of money, here's a bunch of guns, and if the Ruskies ever make it across the border, just do what comes natural. What do you think those guys did? That's right, hate crimes and robbery sprees. So we did a lot of stuff like that. So we incentivized a lot of bad behavior, is what I'm saying. It's not good. We shouldn't have done that. That probably wouldn't have been. CIA-supported far-right terrorist groups in Italy. The years of lead. A period of social turmoil, political violence, and upheaval that lasted from the late 1960s until the late 1980s. People don't realize how recent this stuff was. And this was us, man. I mean, not entirely, but we certainly... A far-left group, the Red Brigades, eventually became notorious as a terrorist organization, kidnapped and assassinated former Italian Prime Minister Aldo Moro. 1980 bombing of Bologna, railway station, which killed 85 people, and was perpetrated by the far-right neo-fascist terrorist group known as the Nuclear Armati Rivoluzionari. You can't even say that without a fake Italian accent. Jesus. Well, it's called Bologna. Bologna. I wonder if this Wikipedia page just directly says, thanks to the CIA. Nah, it doesn't. Tragic. Or does it? No, it doesn't. That flag, it is literally a Nazi group. Had thanks to the CIA. Yeah. Anyway, I want people to understand that, like, a lot of the problems we're having right now with like neo-fascism in Europe are a direct product of stuff that we did in order to fight red fascism. It's fascism all the way down is what I'm saying. Like the countries west of the Iron Curtain, a lot of their ideological decline since the turn of the century is heavily influenced by what we did to fight the Soviets, and a lot of the neo-fascism east of the Berlin Wall, or sorry, east of the Iron Curtain, is because the Soviets were already just fascist anyway. So, you know, it's great. I love living here. It's great. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. It's great. I love it. You need to look at some of the wild stuff Berlusconi said. He said Obama was tanned. That's great.
Вы сейчас говорили об успешном экономическом сотрудничестве двух стран.
Certo che il fatto di avere una nuova generazione.
I assumed there would be like English language translations in this. Is there not?
Di politici come quella rappresentata dal presidente Dmitry Medvedev e da Barack Obama.
Wow, thanks.
È certamente un buon punto di partenza. Credo, anzi ne sono sicuro, che questo renderà più facili i rapporti. Ho detto al Presidente che Obama ha tutto per poter andare d'accordo con lui, perché è giovane, è bello e anche abbronzato, e quindi penso che si possa sviluppare una buona collaborazione.
Okay, that was him saying it. Use auto-translate. I don't know how that works. Also, it probably sucks. Also, we know what he said anyway. The point that I'm getting at here is that Italy is bad. Can we just leave it with that? I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Italy. Except maybe to check out their cop cars. Aren't their cop cars all Lamborghinis? Because it's an Italian brand? Look at this. This has to be part of their prison abolitionist scheme. If you spend all of your money on the police cars, then how do you have any money to run the jails? Look at that. This is ridiculous. The Mamma Mia mobile. All right, keep it down. Keep it down. Doesn't Italy also have a sick military uniform? Or is it the police uniform I'm thinking of? Oh yeah, this. They look like gay biker Nazis. That's right. Oh, can I get like a higher resolution photo of this? There we go. Yeah, they look like gay biker Nazis. This is why they were in support of having a prime minister who kids at parties for so long. Because, like, this is just what Italy is like, you know? If you jaywalk, a police Lamborghini cruiser will peel out from, like, 3 streets away, do a donut, stop right in front of you, and 2 of the hottest guys you've ever seen in your life will get out, talk to you in some unintelligible gibberish speak, and then you in the back of the car. Consensually, of course. Look at them. And that's how it works over there. Nobody goes to prison. Nobody's jailed in Italy. How many prisoners in Italy? Find out. Italy's prison population was 53,000. 53,000? That's barely anything. Okay, how many prisoners per capita? Prison population rate, 89. Okay. So 89 per 100,000, I'm guessing? Yeah, per 100,000. Okay. America, prison, population, about 0.7%. So that would be nearly 1 out of every 100 people. So for 100, that'd be 700 per 100,000. Jesus. So proportionally, Italy has about 1/8 the prison population of the United States. Jesus Christ. God, this country sucks. I wish it was Italy. That's the great trade-off, okay? You get prison abolitionism, but you also have pedophiles in leadership, which is so different to the United States. In the United States, we don't have that. We don't have pedophiles and people of power, or in positions of power. It's not like that here. Italy is just better America. Italy is just as stupid as America. Its leaders are just as pedophilic, but they have prison abolition. God damn it. Italy is so pretty. Every country that's near the Mediterranean is pretty. I don't know why. It's just something in the water over there. I want pizza. Yeah.